everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Unboxed. Can I get a whoop whoop? So this is number 10th episode. And also for you guys watching, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, and wherever else you get your podcasts. And I'm just going to do a quick introduction of everybody, all the lovely faces that we have on here today. So let's start off with the main man. That's you, David.
What's up? What's up, everyone?
Goes without saying.
And then we have Diane.
Yes, hello, everybody.
Okay. And then we have Delphina.
Hello.
Danny.
Hi.
Tigis.
Hello.
Abigail.
Stop.
Then we have the twins. We have
Girl, where?
I know, right? Like, which is the twins? Like, thinking like,
identical, obviously. No, I'm just kidding. We have Travis. I'm sorry I didn't get your
Stanley.
And Stanley. There we go. And then we have Sade and Tunji.
The first couple of Instagram.
The power couple.
The power couple. The president and first lady of Vancouver Instagram.
Yeah.
We'll go with that, sure.
Then we have Thelma and Haj.
Hello. The crazy ones right here. Let's get rowdy.
We love a bit of crazy. I mean, honestly, we need some drama in our lives. I feel like
I love that.
Yeah, it's just a little bit.
Yeah, but honestly though, like, how are you guys doing? Just like mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, how are you doing? Just honestly. Bored?
Answer that. Go ahead, girl.
I'm bored for the most part. I'm trying to find it, and it's so hard to be consistent with one.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm having a great time. I'm getting to know myself.
I love that. How come you're having a great time though?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Because it's like, I feel like with this time, I'm kind of resetting. I work so hard, and I feel like right now, I'm not a robot. For once, I can actually reset my mind. I can rethink and just kind of rest. So, yeah.
Yeah. Are you working from home or?
I'm working from home, but it's very slow. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah, pretty.
Oh.
Very slow.
I agree with her. Like, I'm loving it. Like, the first week was just like, oh my gosh, like, what's going on? Like, you know, being in the house 24/7 with your siblings, like, it's unusual. But then the second, third week, and you kind of like have a routine to do the things that you have never done before. Like, most of the days I'm like, okay, let me go for a walk. And I would like go for a walk. And I'm like, wow, this is actually what my neighborhood looks like. Or, you know, look at this place that I'm finding that I would never, you know, take the time outside of my schedule to go. So I think it's just like, although, you know, the negative aspect of it, people are dying and people, you know, it's a really traumatic thing for a lot of people. But then there's a blessing in disguise of like, you know, my relationship with my family is getting stronger. My relationship with God is getting deeper. So I am taking forth the time that we're being given as a good thing. So it's good.
Yeah. Amen.
Thank you.
It was definitely a struggle for me in the beginning. Like, I'm an extrovert to the core, and like I sometimes need like the excitement of other people to like keep me going, and not seeing people for such a long time was hard. Like, kind of like what you said, like the first maybe 2 weeks were really, really hard. Like, I would just go out and take walks and stuff like that. But then later on, it's like, okay, we sort of get into a routine, and then you realize that there's just a lot of things happening online as well, which really, really helps. And then you start to focus on the things that actually matter. And like, for me, that's, you know, relationship with people that are close to me, relationship with God. And I'm grateful to also be able to work from home during this time as well. So just kind of changing my perspective rather than focusing on the bad, considering all the things that are happening. So yeah.
It's
Yeah.
good.
I think it's a good opportunity for people to keep
a positive mindset at home. Like hearing you all talk about like, the ways you're taking advantage of it it's awesome. And then there's moments when, you know, you open Instagram and then you see a really poorly titled news article that's like negative, and it's like this is going to go on until 2021, and then all of a sudden all your hopes get crushed again. So it's like this vicious cycle of we'll get through this. Oh man, we got to go through this again. We'll get through this. How many more months?
No, honestly, we got this, and that's why we as humans must come together and be a team, right? We're not alone here. We got our family, we got our friends. We're all one.
Yeah. Danny, I agree. You got your Clorox in the background.
This episode is sponsored by Clorox.
I feel like it's so fitting to like desanitize their house like first week of quarantine, because I bought bleach.
Was one of those,
Bleach was sold out so early, I couldn't get bleach.
Oh, wow.
Still don't have
even today.
At least you guys have Clorox.
Yeah, it's true.
So I actually took my name down. I went to this pharmacy in my neighborhood. It's not like it wasn't in like Shoppers or anything like that. It's a standalone one, and they had a waiting list for masks. So my name is on there, and I need to get that alert real quick.
Yeah,
get a box of masks. So I'm waiting. I feel like I'm like I love what you guys are saying, how you guys are staying positive, but I feel like I have my off days, which they're coming more than, you know, the positive days, unfortunately.
I agree with you there. I felt so bad when everyone was so positive. I was like, oh, I guess I'm the only one.
But it's fine though. If you feel bad, it's totally normal. I mean, you're human, you know? It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel confused. It's honestly okay to feel emotional and lonely. You're human. Like, yeah.
No, definitely. Like I'm side-eyeing people as well, like on the street, because I feel like I have to take more walks these days, and but at the same time it makes me anxious. So
because everybody's taking walks.
Exactly. So when I'm on the walk, I'm stressed. I don't know what I want to do. And you know, it's like anytime someone's coming close to me, I'm just like, can you stay away?
That's funny because normally they cross the road when they see you, right? Yeah. You know, how was
Travis?
Wow.
No, I mean for black people, white people, black people.
Yeah, we got it.
I'm not roasting anybody.
Everyone's laughing, but we can all relate to it.
Yeah, we can all relate.
We're all kind of used to it.
We've seen that happen to us. Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm like, yes, please stay away from me. Yes. Don't sit by me on the bus, please.
Use
it to your advantage right now, man.
Yeah.
But when was that moment that you guys realized, like, damn, okay, this is, because I feel like things change fast really quickly.
Yeah.
We're at Link Up one weekend.
Yo, can I say something?
As soon as the NBA got canceled, I knew shit was shit.
Yeah, that's true.
And like for me, Link Up, like I always want to support Link Up. Like I always want to support, like, especially because like David and like other people that I know and love are putting it on. But like I was super paranoid about coronavirus, so I was just like, I love these guys, but I am not going.
Me too.
Yo.
You were like, okay, I guess I'll be paranoid too.
I followed your lead, maybe, I don't know. But I think, but it was the weekend. I believe it was the weekend, like right after we found out about the NBA and Tom Hanks and everybody. So I was really, and I was in Starbucks with this old lady talking, like coughing, like right beside me. So like just a bunch of stuff happened. So I was just like, I love Link Up. I love the event, but hey, you know what?
No, but for real though, I remember I went to Link Up, but I was feeling nervous going there and then leaving. And I was like, shit, I need to wait 2 weeks before I see anybody. And then as soon as the 2 weeks hit, I was like, yes, all right, we good. We
Literally
healthy.
Yeah, Deanna and I were counting. We were like, okay. The whole team, we were like, all right, we got 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we're not gonna post any pictures. We're not gonna, we're not gonna talk about anything.
Honestly,
they didn't want to get food.
No, we were like legit praying. I was so paranoid. I told even David and the team before, I think it was a couple of days before link up, I was like, guys, are we sure about this? Like, what's, and they had to kind of calm me down because I was really paranoid, but I'm like, okay, cool. Let me just literally pray about it. And the day of, I prayed about it, and then God gave me a word. I'm like, okay, my nerves are set. And then David was like, okay, after 2 weeks, post the event, like we'll see how, if no one got sick. So thankfully no one did, because we were like thinking like, are we going to get sued? It's like, all the things are going in your head. So we're like, okay, no, it was good.
Let me ask you guys a question, because like there's so many like false rumors going around about coronavirus, and one of them was that people with African skin can't get the coronavirus.
We are not immune.
I didn't believe it 100%, but like there was a part of me that like took comfort in this rumor. Exactly. I wanted to.
Vaseline will protect us. Vaseline.
He was one of them.
I think here's
Finally,
the funny thing, right?
We win something.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is, like that week of like link up, like I work in nightlife, so like I was going out and I was like, I'm still gonna get my money. This is not affecting black people. Like I was even like clowning people, like, Corona's not gonna stop us. Yeah. And then like that weekend, that's when I think it started to change for me in my mindset too, because like we went from like having like 300 people to having like 20 people.
Yeah.
This is like, I do like 3 nights a week, so like it's like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and like I'm like, everyone is like, like next week we're not gonna be open. Like we're just trying to make as much money as we can. Yeah. And like it was crazy. Like imagine like walking into a club and there's like 20 people, even like 5 people at one point.
Wow. That's insane.
Yeah. And that's when I was like, I'm definitely staying at home. I even like, he was calling me, I was like, why are you staying? I'm like, listen, I still need to make money with all of this. And then like for me too, being a photographer, all my shoots just started getting like canceled.
Yeah. Yeah, like even shows just
wow. Yeah.
All my shows just like got canceled. March, April, May, cancel.
Jeez, man.
Are you all still working?
I'm working.
And
not from home.
Part-time from home.
Yeah, like I'm
like
working.
Dying daily.
Wow.
Where do you work, Abigail?
I work at a medical supplies warehouse in South Surrey.
Oh.
Yo, you got masks?
Yeah.
Look it up. Public.
Y'all trying to get the plug.
Everyone says that, but we can't sell them to the public, sadly.
Oh.
Yo, Abigail, $10. Come on, girl.
It costs more than that.
Abigail, I'll do your dishes for a week.
I'll bake you goods. I got you. Good. I mean, I'll talk to my manager, see what I can do. I got y'all. Drop it at your doors and bounce.
Is anyone like still ordering Uber Eats and all that?
All the time.
What?
You
know what? I've seen a lot of the Uber drivers and stuff, and they're super cautious, like more than I am, And so, like, a lot of people who say they don't want to order from Uber, I'm like, okay, so when you go to the grocery store and you come back home, are you disinfecting everything that you got? Because I don't think you are. Because
this is like, this is food though. Like, there's like cooks.
Breathing on it.
Yeah, but then also when you go to the grocery store, you're getting stuff that's coming in from factories.
But it's in boxes.
Okay, no, she has a point, right?
It's not always boxes. Like there are workers that like take out the fruit to like set them up. So like either way, somebody's touching your food.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I wipe my food. I wipe like the container with Lysol and.
What I normally do is I just leave it there for 24 hours. Like I wouldn't touch it with my bare hands or whatever, and the virus is gonna die anyway. So
it doesn't die within 24 hours. It's good.
24 hours.
I think he's talking about his groceries.
Well, it depends on what. It depends on what it is, though.
Yeah, it depends on the.
You said letting it sit out there for 24 hours, and you're like, okay, now I can eat it.
Okay, I'm gonna head out.
But if it's vegetables, obviously I wouldn't eat it like right out. The next day, I'll leave it there for a bit.
You can wash it.
I mean, you can wash it, but you have to use soap.
Just throw it in some vinegar.
You should be using.
Because water is not going to kill the virus. So what are you washing it with?
You're washing the cheese with soap and like vinegar or something. You're supposed to.
Yeah, vinegar will probably work.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, my mom took the dish rack,
obviously not
brought in
soap.
fruits and vegetables. She put it on there to dry with the plates there and everything, and then put it over.
That's intense. Holy smokes.
Speaking of African moms, who is getting WhatsApp messages?
My dad is sending me videos, how to keep your immune system healthy videos, ginger, lemon, turmeric.
That wouldn't work.
Oh yeah, I've got turmeric.
Videos that you do right now. Music videos on how to like prepare.
Wash your hands.
Music videos.
My mom was already one.
I gave her a degree because apparently she's the doctor and she knows.
My mom was already on. Like we have a family group chat. She's always that one person always saying those chain messages anywhere.
Yeah.
Now she's even saying them even more. And then like I was speaking to her the other day, and then my sister had to be like, "Yo, you need to speak to your mom," because she was like, "Yeah, I don't need the mask. Like God will protect me. God is my mask." So I'm like, "Mom, listen, we've been doing this for 5 weeks. Like you can't be playing games like this because like she's in Zoom." And I'm like, "Mom, like we've been doing this for 5 weeks. Like don't play games. Like I'm a Christian. I pray too, but." You can't be saying stuff like that.
God is my mask.
God is
my mask.
God is my mask. That should be on a t-shirt.
I know.
Might have to trademark that. Just saying.
Yeah, I've definitely seen some crazy cures that like apparently scientists haven't even discovered, like water with lemon and bicarbonate soda. And apparently it was from Israel. And that's why at the time Israel had no cases. Yeah. I really had to have like a 1 hour conversation with my parents, just being like, no, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. No, it's crazy.
Do you guys know anyone in real life who actually has the virus?
Yeah, so like from back home, I know a guy I went to high school with. He was a couple years older than me that actually died.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. And I think that's what even with my family back home too, they started taking it more seriously because he was the son of a minister. So it's like if a wealthy minister's son is dying.
Your mom was like,
yeah, like, and that's when the even became more serious too.
Abigail. God.
How old was he?
That's so sad.
He was 32. That's what made it even.
Oh wow, that's young.
That's so sad.
Like,
really young.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, sorry for that. Like, my condolences.
5 people in my office who had the virus. 5 people had the virus in my office, and I talked to them. I shared the same space with them, and I'm healthy. I'm fine.
Oh my God.
But it's like, it's pretty scary, right? But I don't know. I think we're all different. We're all built differently. We all have different genes. So
you probably became immune to it.
Probably, right?
I don't know that's how that works.
Yeah, I think you have to get it.
No.
It comes out differently, like for other people.
Yeah.
Maybe you had like minor symptoms and then it's like gone and then it's just asymptomatic for you now.
Yeah.
So even if you're immune, are you still able to spread it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
That's the thing, right? That's the issue. It's like I didn't take any of this seriously up until I realized that like I'll be fine, but like if I'm spreading that out to somebody else who's not going to be fine afterwards, I don't think I could live with myself, especially parents who are older and have health concerns. That if I play a part in that, then that doesn't make me any better than all the other people partying and doing all that stuff.
Yeah. That's why the news is saying there's going to be like a second wave because like people who are like isolating and like when they come out of isolation, like they're thinking that they're fine, but they're not. So they're calling this like the first wave. So assuming it's going to be,
But there's so much information out there. It's just like, okay, like
what's real? What's not?
What's the real one? And then like what's really frustrating is like the solutions that tips that they give us to avoid, like, what do they always tell us? Wash your hands. It's like, I've been doing that stuff anyways. Like, could you give me something?
Not everybody. Most people don't.
Most people don't wash their hands?
No, I was at the club for one night. Walked out the washroom without washing his hands. He just like peed and just like walked straight out.
Oh,
and I literally just looked at him like
that's
dude.
A lot of people don't do that shit. A lot in the clubs and stuff. I just see people walk out.
In clubs, like everywhere, like a lot of
everywhere,
like
in the malls, like it's crazy.
Also, it's certain cultures, right? Some cultures don't wash their hands. They don't understand hygiene, and that's the sad truth.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's more like you don't think that after you go to the grocery store, you have to go back home and wash your hands. Like it's the frequency, because normal people don't usually do that. But now if you step outside, they literally recommend like once you come back in, wash your hands, like sanitize like whatever groceries you bring back home, like, you know, if it's in plastic and all those type of things. So that's not normal, you know? And also like part of building our immune system is being exposed to different germs, bacteria. So if you keep doing all those things, it's probably not as safe for you to build your immune system. But now we have to literally wash a virus off of our hands. So I think that's not normal for a lot of people. So that's kind of the thing. But have you guys heard of any conspiracy theories? Like,
not real.
5G.
5G. Shout out to 5G.
5G, you know. Population control, Bill Gates.
Bill Gates.
Okay, but the Bill Gates one though. Come on, can we pause on that?
Okay, let's talk about that.
So that one, like that one's I'm like,
what is the Bill Gates?
I don't trust him.
I don't. What has Bill Gates done?
Does anyone want to explain?
Well, they're saying that he, because there's like a TED Talk, a really popular TED Talk that he gave, basically predicting another pandemic, and he basically like went from beginning to end about like what it would look like. He said it would be a respiratory type of disease, and you know, like it would spread because of travel and all sorts of things. So, and this was, I think it was 2015. So, and you know, now his foundation is behind a lot of the vaccine efforts. So he's funding a lot of the vaccine. And so people are saying that basically like he set the whole thing up to be able to profit from.
God forbid.
It's not, I don't think it stems from that. It was a speech he had before that. It was talking about population control. So
he did that too.
There was a lot of like top people like on his level that was talking about population control and all that. And I think they're using that and be like, oh shit, he's behind this and that. But his also, actions doesn't really reflect that. So it's like,
I agree.
Well, we don't know what.
But we don't know.
Those doors. No, but it's that it's necessarily that he wants to profit. I feel like it's more of a like, I told you. Like, you just want to speed up the "I told you so" process.
It wasn't just him, right? It was also scientists to inspire. Like they were all like predicting it ahead of time. So, like it was bound to happen, type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of inevitable. Like when you think about it, so it's not like he predicted it. He could have never said which year it's going to happen, but it's like it's going to happen regardless.
And one thing that we've definitely seen is like it's happened, like this thing has happened a few times throughout history. Like I saw like some old images of like the 1910s when like people were like trying to cover their faces because of the Spanish flu going around. It's like history repeats itself all the time. So, you know, that would be wild because Bill Gates is old enough to die from the coronavirus, so it'd be wild if he put it out there on purpose. Like that would be
the antidote.
Not if you have the
antidote. Shit.
Because I've even been seeing memes too. Because like you know how like Windows uses antivirus. So the concept is like, you make the virus with Android too. So I mean, it's not anymore. It makes a lot of sense.
Oh god,
it was the foreshadowing.
But they were also saying some sort of like he wanted to put chips on people, like microchips.
Okay, that's a lie.
It's already said that though.
So it's not really a chip per se, but it's like some ink. So like when people get vaccinated or when people get tested, when they take out the blood or whatever, they would put the ink on your skin, and then you can see it with like a smartphone or like some form of app.
People are getting the ideas from movies. The media and movies is basically making us brainwash, and that's the truth.
But is it not true? Like there's a possibility of there's a possibility of that stuff being true though. Like I mean,
but
it's just movies, guys. Come on.
No, movies, they get it from science, not science get it from movies. It's
it's the other way around.
Chicken before the egg, not egg for chicken. Thing. Yeah,
is already putting in chips in people's wrists. So
companies.
It's the mark of the beast.
No.
Times.
That's what all my aunties and uncles said in my African church. The mark of the beast.
It could be that. It could be too. I mean, who are we to say? I don't know. Because I mean, like the same thing, like you're saying, it's only in movies, but like I'm reading stuff where like they can actually clone things now. Like I was watching, like I think 2 Chainz has a show called Most Expensive, and on one of the shows, there's one where like they cloned a cat. So if cloning is possible, like who's to say like some of the stuff isn't? I'm not saying it's true, but I'm saying it's like it could be possible.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Man,
it's getting scary out there.
Crazy.
Scary out there. Yeah.
wow.
And like even with the vaccines, like I don't even know how soon that's gonna be. But then what pissed me off was the whole thing about like those 2 French doctors saying that they want to
test on Africa.
On them.
African.
Yo, bun
they
them.
should like be jailed. I don't understand how they can say those
How that
things.
makes sense.
Like,
animals? Are we in the freaking zoo? It's so ignorant.
I swear, if it happens, they should. I don't know what's gonna happen because you have no justification. Like, yes, I guess in the States because there's more people who are tested positive for the virus, and they're saying that more of the African community are dying, but then they don't take in consideration several factors in terms of like a lot of people there, unfortunately, they don't have a good living standard, whether healthcare, so of course they're dying. But other races are also dying. So why would you, take this vaccine to a continent where people, it's not really affecting us that much by God's grace, but like you should go to the countries that are most affected. You should test the people who need it. Like don't make us like love rats, like what happened in like with syphilis. When I read about that in history class, I was raging. I was like, how can this have happened for such a long period of time? And then their justifications like, black men, they're not educated, they wouldn't understand. I'm like, that's just ridiculous.
I have a question though. Like, are you guys surprised by that? Like, I personally wasn't.
Same.
Because I mean, like, I think for me, like, as crazy as this might seem, I'm happy this actually started happening in the developed world first. Because had this happened in Africa, people wouldn't care. Like I'm sitting with like friends.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Everyone is losing their shit. I'm like, you realize that like, I mean, Corona is killing a lot of people, but there's like other pandemics that have killed way more people at the same time, but no one said
Ebola,
anything. And people are looking at me in these groups like, dude, like what you're saying is crazy. And like I pull out the stats and I'm like, dude, AIDS is killing way more people right now still, and like people don't care about it.
Yeah.
It's like I wasn't really surprised by that at all.
Yeah, it's almost as if people can't comprehend a world where sickness is affecting everyone and Africa isn't being affected by it.
And I mean,
like that comment. Because a saying that drives me crazy is when moms will say to their kids that don't want to finish their food, oh well, there's starving kids in Africa that's eating that. And for me, it's just like there's starving kids in your neighborhood. Like, like why does it have to be Africa? You know what I mean? It's it's interesting. Like Stanley said, I wasn't surprised buy it. Thankfully, it was just a suggestion by 2 idiot doctors, and it wasn't something that was actually like in the process of happening.
No, they did make an offer. I think, like it was like 47 million. They did offer to Congo.
Yeah.
It's not just. It wasn't just like a random thing out in the air. But like I think like a few days later, the World Health Organization was saying like we're condemning this now. But I don't know. I was surprised. I was shocked that things like that left someone's mouth, that they could put it out there. But in the back of my mind, I'm still like, if they're gonna pay the right amount of money, someone's gonna say yes. And like
everybody has a price.
And like under the right conditions, like someone's gonna be like desperate enough to just be like, yeah, give me it. I don't care.
Well, they're smart though. They know that. I hate saying this, but a lot of African countries we're doing very bad still, right? So they
corrupt. It's a young nation, so
exactly. Yeah.
Like I'm from Congo. Like I was just talking to my parents about I guess someone in parliament who was arrested because for the years that he was in his position, he had stole like I think $340 million, and he's kept it to himself, knowing that like obviously like people in that country are suffering. So I agree with you. If someone were to offer a certain amount, I'm scared on my people's behalf that someone would take that offer and just let things slide by just for the sake of having that amount of money. So it's really, really, really scary. So.
But I mean, like Deanne was talking about, I was listening to a podcast where they were talking to a doctor in Africa, and he was saying that there's no like scientific reason to be doing any sort of trials in Africa because of the low number of cases. So you don't have enough, because in Africa overall, from the time of the podcast, which was pretty much last week, he said the total number of cases in Africa is not even, it's only comparable to one country. And in terms of what is happening in Europe, I think it was France. And so he said, like, based on those numbers alone, you don't have enough people to do any sort of like legitimate trial. So there's no reason, so you can't get any valid results from something like that. So
I want to say too, I think because I might be wrong, I'm not a doctor. I think because we also have different immune systems. Like it's a running joke we have in this house too. Like I'm rarely ever sick.
Yeah.
So like I think that has a big factor too, where it's wherever you are in the world, like your immune system develops differently. So I think we can't really even just start by just starting in Africa. It doesn't really make any sense, right?
So my one thing is, this might be an unpopular opinion, but the cases being low, is that because
I was going to say that
it actually is low, or is it because nobody's getting tested because they don't want to get tested?
That's a good point.
I think it has to do with the travel and also like the testing, because obviously through Europe and North America there's a lot more travel happening there than in Africa.
Because
So,
I almost feel like in the US,
Very debatable.
a lot of them want to get clout. Like they're like, oh, I want to go get like tested or whatever, and like it's getting spreaded, or like people are going to hospitals and like going out of their way. Versus like I know if I was back in Ethiopia right now, 100%, 90% of them wouldn't be taking it seriously. They wouldn't want to go get checked. They're like, oh no, it's just a cold, it's gonna go away. Like you know what I mean? Or like the availability of testing. Like I wonder how much is the actual number to get everybody tested. That's here too. That's like the numbers in China, things not adding up. Like I doubt that the number was what they're doing for everybody. Like you're telling me a huge population like China has less than 100,000 deaths? Right.
That's one of the conspiracies that like they might have started it, and because I saw this in a news show where they were saying that the hubs, like the commercial and financial hubs in China, a lot of them were not exposed. Like Shanghai was like probably 5 deaths, and some other cities, very low numbers compared to Wuhan and like a couple of other more out of the financial commercial hub.
You know how many months they waited before they told the world, like, oh, guys, like, you know, we can't control this economy.
Yeah. And now they're making masks for the rest of the world. They're the ones who's, because I work in commercial finance. And so, like, a lot of my clients in BC are basically like slowing down or shut down. But recently, they've been starting to pick back up because their supply chain, which starts in China, is starting to pick up because now they're not on lockdown.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is a little bit suspect that they're starting to pick up from there. And, you know, businesses in the West are still on like a
that's why they built.
Like, I think it is very convenient that it all happened that way, but at the same time, a pandemic is also inevitable. So it's like I'm kind of in the middle, more on the pandemic side of things. But yeah, I get it.
Okay. Yeah. But y'all saw how China built hospitals within like a week though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, ask SFU how long it took them to build the student center right next to us. Like
SFU.
Well, and their economy is a lot different, you know, because they're able to like mobilize commercial or like whatever they need to do because of the way their society is structured. Like the government controls, they can seize hotels, they can like say, okay, you're not going to be a community center anymore. You're a hospital now. Like it's fine.
It's a authoritarian.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. Like countries where we have our full personal freedom, these are the countries that are going to take the longest to figure out this whole coronavirus thing, because there's people who absolutely are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Like I just found out right now, people aren't even washing their hands. Yeah. People are still going to the beach. Like it's wild. And like
today,
I feel like even though it's not how our politicians and our leaders normally do things, I think that our politicians need to honestly set up and be like, you're not allowed to go to the beach. We're not going to strongly suggest it. We're going to tell you don't do it, and if you do it, you're going to get fined or you're going to get arrested.
It's already happening. A friend of mine told me, I think a week and a half ago, that people in Richmond are already being fined $1,000. Like I think her friend's mom.
By the way, that's all of BC. That's all of BC.
In BC, yes, yeah. So the friend's mom was in the car with someone else, and the police officer fined the mom because she was not related to the driver. So it's already happening. And Trudeau was just like, you know, like he understands, like obviously what Tunji says about being a country where we have freedom and stuff. But he's saying that there's going to be other forceful measures that he's going to take in place if people are not listening. I think the military is already, I don't know what they're doing right now, but they're already around. So I
don't think the way they did it was effective and here's my argument. For example, like every different province was dealing with it in a very different way. And even in BC too, like every city's like dealing with it very differently. Like I love like the mayor of Vancouver. He shut everything down immediately. Like he was revoking like people's licenses. But it wasn't like that in every other city though. So like, I think that's the big problem why it was spreading so much, because every province or every city is dealing with very different. Like he should have been like made a universal like guideline of like, this is what we should be doing. But like, I mean, with the society we live in, like it's hard to do that in Canada. Like it's just not built like that.
So I saw an article last night that in Denmark, they actually are not social isolating. They're actually still just living their lives and still interacting with people.
Yeah.
So there's actually a low death rate. I'm like, everywhere's different. It all depends on the economy, who lives there, people's
population density.
So there's so many factors to it, right?
And I want to know, are all those people getting tested in Denmark? That's all I'm saying.
Sweden was doing that as well, and
so Sweden,
have a spike in cases. It's not
exactly so Sweden was like, this is how we do it. We still running our economy like normal. We keep the old people home, blah blah blah. And then right now they have a big spike, as she says, and they're trying to be like, oh shit, rethinking what they were saying last week.
Yeah.
I'm like,
so something that I was talking to Travis about a few days ago was like, how do you guys feel about like here in Canada, them being really slow and transitioning into us being quarantined instead of it being like right from the jump in lockdown, like how they kind of like, oh, some places are having slower hours, and then after that, then they're like, oh, okay, now you can't, you have to stay home, and then now like provincial parks are closed. Like they kind of did it step by step instead of just like right from the beginning. Like, how do you guys feel about that?
They had to weigh it down economically too. Like, for example, you guys are all in BC. We didn't have everything shut down here in Winnipeg until maybe like 2 weeks ago because we got our first case when BC was at 400, 500. Wow. So it definitely went like, by the time I saw BC shut down, that same day, you know, San Diego had a whole city shut down. No one was actually legally allowed to leave their house.
Yeah.
And whereas in like Winnipeg now, literally like as of last week, it's like, oh, well, you know what, guys, you're not allowed to leave your house. You're going to get ticketed. So it's a slow rollout depending on where you are. But I think that Canada they didn't have a firm grip on what they wanted to do, and they were more worried about the economical standpoint, like the outcome. And I think it could have saved, like if you look at Ontario right now versus BC, they were head to head in cases. Yeah, we were talking about this, and then Ontario is now 4 times more because they're not doing the same thing that BC was doing. Like Tigis and I were talking to our friend of a friend of ours got a ticket for like $700 for not social distancing. I don't feel bad. You should get a ticket because, you know, you weren't part of the people who were bringing that number down versus Ontario. So it's like,
But
I kind of agree with it.
I don't think it's an economic thing though, because I mean, for example, like Winnipeg and BC are very different in the sense that we had really nice weather for the past couple of weeks. They should have shut down the parks, I think, first. Businesses, I understand, but the parks and everything should have been shut down super early. Because people took it as a holiday, like, it's nice outside, I'm going to go to the beach, I'm not working, I'm still getting paid. And that's what's spreading it. Like, it's crazy. Like, again, even when Vancouver announced like we should be shutting all this stuff down or you should be social distancing, people are still going out. They should have shut it down, like, I think at least 2 weeks ago. Like, businesses I can understand because, again, I work with a lot of smaller businesses, and I honestly don't think they will make it through this. But like for things like the parks and stuff, they should have been shut down way earlier.
I agree with Danny from the economic standpoint because a lot of leaders and governments were probably hesitant to shut things down because of the economic ramifications. So if you're thinking short term, for example, and you're in office and you have a short term, you know, are you going to be, and you're thinking about like, oh, like, am I going to be reelected if I created a shutdown which caused a lot of jobs to be lost and caused a lot of like a recession to happen wherever I am? Like, they were probably like, can we do anything else but shut down? So I think that was what caused the delay initially. But like when eventually it just seemed like, okay, there's no vaccine, treatments, and you know, we're going to overwhelm the healthcare system, which will affect the economy, then they're like, okay, we have no choice but to shut down. But, and again, like this is in China, you know, it's not an authoritarian place. You have to kind of beg people almost, and you can do little things like fine and whatever, but ultimately like people have to take the personal responsibility to social distance. And you know, I personally, like, I'm pessimistic. I feel like you can't trust human beings. I feel like people are just going to do whatever they want, unless you force them to. And so, you know, it seems like it's working in Canada. Like Canada seems to be, it's still, you know, of course it's still early, but it's not spiking like the US is or like Italy was or whoever. So it seems like we'll probably, but I think a big part of that is even luck, honestly. Like, you know, we had like a bit of time of warning, and you know, our population is pretty spread out, like other factors. So we might get off a little bit easy, but it's not necessarily because everyone did the right thing. Like,
because even that's true. Yeah, even with like construction sites, like people aren't keeping their distance. Like I was even though most of the time, like 80% of the time I work from home, but sometimes I have to go and review construction sites, and like I was the only one on the site who had a mask on and gloves. Like everyone else was just walking, like doing their thing, doing their work, and not keeping like the required distance and stuff. And I feel like, I don't know if they'll get shut down, because I know like in Ontario, all the construction sites got shut down. And I feel like that might maybe be the next step for British Columbia, depending on what happens. But like, there are definitely still places where it gets really hard for them. Because if you imagine like these workers are like doing things together and stuff, like it's hard for them to kind of keep their distance from each other. But we'll see, I guess, what happens there.
But there's one thing that scared me the most was SkyTrains, how they were saying like now they're wiping them down twice a day. So I was thinking in my head, what were you doing before this? So like I'm thinking about it. I'm like, if you're only wiping it twice a day now, what were you doing the whole time before this?
Once a day, or once every couple of days?
No, give the Skytrain people a break. What nasty ass people come on that train on a daily? Like on a daily.
The train going to Surrey. For real.
Yeah, straight up. Like even in the summertime, I'm not touching that train from like 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Don't watch me. I ain't gonna be there. Like
they're basically like, guys, we just discovered this crazy thing called viruses.
Yeah.
We don't know where they came from, but we're gonna have to watch these trains.
Out of this as a huge germaphobe. Everyone, we're not like the people who were already germaphobes are just rolling laughing right now, because now you're gonna have a hard time shaking someone's hand for the next 2 years.
I don't know if I'm gonna shake another person's hand.
Guys, not family looking out. They say quarantine free. I'm giving hugs. I'm jumping.
I'm gonna shake your hands, but not a random person. First time meeting someone, nah.
Yeah. How is that gonna affect dating?
Wait, what?
Dating? You said dating?
Yeah. Best believe people have people lined up already until once this quarantine is done.
How are y'all coping right now? Like single people?
See, all my exes are texting me. That's all. You know, like all my exes.
So you respond.
Don't text anyone. Don't text anyone. It's not. Nothing is real. Everybody's bored.
That's true.
How come no one has made a meme with Future?
Don't text that girl, fellas.
They have.
No.
What was the joke with Future?
Know your worth.
Has anyone made any?
I hate big head. This lockdown got me wishing I locked you down and all that.
Yeah.
Oh.
One thing I'm kind of feeling for you, like yo.
They're just bored. Fellas, just go to bed.
All bored, so it's okay.
Just go to bed. It's not real.
I have a brother who's turned into a full-blown thot. Like he's just posting thirst traps on Instagram.
I like that.
He's posting thirst traps on Instagram. He's 18, so he's feeling.
You need to pray for him. Oh my gosh. No.
Now he's 18. Now he's starting to feel himself. I'm mad.
Rather be what he wants to be. It's not like he's gonna go see someone right now anyways. Let him.
Can people use this time?
Sorry.
Yeah, you said what?
Sorry, I was saying, can people, so in terms of like the dating scene, like we're so used to like, oh, let's go out, let's see one another. It's physical in the sense that you just want to see that person and, connect physically. There's other layers, but can't people take this time to really get to know someone, improve on their communication?
We're all on an episode of Love is Blind, honestly. That's what talking through the pod.
Love is Blind.
Haven't watched that show. I don't even want it.
Love is Blind knew what was coming.
That was good. That was good.
They knew.
Literally.
Fun facts.
The danger with the using this time to connect to whatever is like David was saying, sometimes it's not real. Sometimes they're just bored. And then when quarantine's over, you're thinking, wow, I got a man. Or I got a woman. And then, it's a ghost.
Get ghosted.
Did you leave your exes on red when they all slid into your DMs?
Yeah.
Period.
I told you.
You had the
Don't
time
text anyone.
this whole time. Why now? Please.
Maybe he's been self-isolating as he's been doing introspection. He's come to his senses now.
Nah.
I don't believe that person, but I'm just offering a different opinion.
Sit down.
Just a suggestion.
Text him back.
But it's wild.
Like David, most people are because they're so bored that they're like, let me entertain this.
Yeah, I'm telling
Which
you.
is bad because there's some people who don't they're not the ones who are gonna break hearts. They're the ones that are gonna get their hearts broken in this pandemic when they catch feelings and they're texting this person. And once the pandemic's over, it's like you're no longer bored. You're no longer gonna entertain those people that you're texting. And then how is that going to impact the people who are receiving it? So I feel really bad for them. I feel really, really bad because there's some people who won't know how to deal with that.
I feel bad for the people who had just started going on dates with each other. Like the guys at the stage where it's like,
oh yeah,
just like,
So here's an interesting
just
thing.
warming up, and then
like I was talking to a friend, right? Oh, sorry.
You can still go out, get dressed, and meet them on FaceTime with your food.
There's actually people doing that. So I was talking to a friend, and she was saying she's still on like these dating sites, and they're actually having FaceTime conversations now. Like that'll be their first date.
That's interesting. That's first date.
I mean, so ladies, I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's up?
Do we have to order the food? Do we have to order food?
Of course.
Like, what are the rules? What is chivalry in this case?
I know who will say yes and who will say no.
I was just thinking I'll have my dinner and you'll have yours and we'll eat at the same time. But if you guys want to order the food and then send it to my house, I'm not gonna say no, baby boy.
Okay.
Just
So
take
fellas, you heard that. Order her food.
Abigail will eat the food and be like, I forgot to FaceTime him. Oh no.
Had a guy who thought he were on a date with her, but went on a date with her and her friends. So like,
no, okay. He didn't say it was a date. He said, "Do you want to hang out? If you want to hang out, we're hanging out. If you want to ask me out, tell me that. Do you want to go on a date?" So I'm sorry.
He sent you food. That's an indication.
I want to hear from Hodge because I want to know what she's, because I know she has her standards.
Experienced in that area.
So I'm very independent and I don't depend on a man to feed me. I can buy my own food.
Okay.
Period. Okay.
But what is in this case though? What is like? Let's say you do.
Honestly, I like when a man can spoil me, but I'm not going to force him. If a man wants to do it, he'll do it. Period. Why force a man to do something that he doesn't want to do?
Yeah.
My rule is I always
go
pay for
feed
dinner
you
first.
if you want.
You guys hear that?
Wait a minute.
I didn't hear it. What did she say?
There's a reason why. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
The trick is to pay for the meal. I always pay for, if I go on a date, the first date, I'm paying for a meal. I'm paying for both of us. And I'll tell you why. It's a double hit. One, I need you to know that just because you pay for my meal doesn't mean I'm going to spread my legs for you. And two, let's see how you can take this from a male dominant kind of perspective. Are you gonna get your ego blown, or will you say, "Hey, that was really sweet of you. Thank you. Next time I got it."
That's smart.
I would appreciate it because I always pay for the first date anyway. Like, and it's not that I don't think.
Hey, Sally, do you want to go out?
I'm kidding.
Shooting your shot.
Yeah, Abigail, send him some food.
She was holding that in for 30 minutes. Oh, damn.
Stanley, you gotta play your cards right.
To Danny's point, I feel like there's certain cultures where the men feel like it is like within them that they want to pay, and especially I can speak from like Nigerian culture. That's like almost like if you insist to pay on a first date, that it's like offensive to them, and that's just the culture. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
So, like in that situation, like what would you do then?
But I just feel a lot of people don't have those conversations before they go on the date.
But are you gonna have a conversation saying, "Oh, am I gonna pay on the first day, or are you gonna pay?" Like, that's a bit.
I think it's a matter of.
It's supposed to turn into an argument, right? So like, as you're doing it, like if I want to pay and they're like, "No, I have to pay," then I'll be like, "Okay." Like I'm not gonna create a
Or if someone pays for dinner, you can say, "I'll pay for dessert." You can go somewhere else.
Yeah.
It should be.
Yeah.
I think it's being a matter of judge of character. Like there's some guys or some girls, like in a matter of just meeting them, you can tell, or you have like a rough inclination of what they're like.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's just a matter of like just being a good judge of character, I think.
Yeah. See, the thing in Vancouver, there's so many women who depend on a man for dinner, and that's the sad truth.
Oh,
and no, I'm being serious though. I know so many of my guy friends who are going through this. Girls use them for free food. I'm like, no.
I have friends like that.
Yes.
You know what?
That's enough friends of mine do that shit. A lot of friends of ours.
Like that. I haven't met a girl like that yet.
I'm not lying. There's people that have you saved in their phone as free food or like bubble tea or like.
I know that.
Yes, that's facts. That's facts. That's facts.
Hard out here.
I'm just like, whoa, okay. Weird flex, but okay.
That's a good question. So because there's like these like male and like female roles that still haven't all the way gone away yet, like how do like women like take advantage of those things like purely for their own enjoyment and benefit in ways that guys might not know? So we have like the free food thing, like what's other ways that like free drinks at the club? Like
that's a savage one, bro.
That's a whole nother. I don't know if we could go another hour on this.
So honestly, for dinner, I'm independent, but free drinks, my girlfriends, I got the back. I will flirt. I will give you the sexy look, you name it. Yeah, all my girls.
I blame the guys on that. Yeah, I blame the guys on that shit. I agree with that. I know. It's so stupid.
All the guys start throwing cash at the screen.
My girlfriend, I got their back. So you're not just buying her a drink. Oh, her
whole that one, I'm sorry. I don't agree with that. I don't agree.
Me neither.
Because if he's approaching me, now girls. Like
I feel like
get with we're not a package deal.
Yeah, I don't
bed with you people too.
What?
Come on now, chill small. I said, are they gonna come on the date with you? Are they gonna come into bed with you? Just take your drink and go.
Let me tell you why, as a guy.
My thing is like I feel guilty if I get a free drink. So like in order to push that away, I'll be like, okay, if you want to buy me a drink, you gotta buy my friend a drink. That just so I can push them.
What if there's 5 of y'all and it's at 12 West? The drink.
So like if they want to pay for everybody, that's their issue. But like I'm trying to stop it without having to be rude, because if you're like, oh, I got a man, or I'm not interested, they get so upset if you say no.
No, they're like, where's the man? Where's your man?
Where's my boyfriend?
Yeah.
Where's your boyfriend?
Where's your boyfriend?
The whole boyfriend thing doesn't work, guys. It's all lies.
That's true. That's true.
Let me tell you why, as a guy, I support like girls doing that. There's a lot of guys in the club who think they hate honchos, and they think by buying girls' drinks, you're gonna get in their pants.
Amen.
Take that money. Like I think this is something I've been in this industry for like 8 years now. I watch this all the time, and even with all the bartenders, we laugh so hard. We literally see it, and then we see a guy who just says, "Hey, I want to get to know you," or like whatever it is, and then they end up going home or like interacting with this girl. This guy has bought like this girl and her friend drinks and nothing.
Yeah.
Or he's like popping bottles, like, "Hey, do you want to come to our table?" They go get the drinks and they leave.
Yeah.
I support it 100%.
Looking out for him, like like now, if we got one idiot in the group, you got at least one guy with.
But what happens if the group is all like that, and it's like that in Vancouver? There's a whole lot of groups like that.
It's the mentality in Vancouver. Like a lot of guys have that mentality.
But no, they think that money is going to impress a girl, and so that's stupid.
Yeah. The thing is, right? We need to understand there are some women out there who are impressed by those things, just because.
But it's one gin and tonic. How come one gin and tonic equal
12
the
less.
whole night? Like, how does that make sense?
Not all gin and tonics are created equally. Some gin and tonics are more special.
Paid for quite a few gin and tonics.
Mind your business, Tigges. Mind your business.
Are you speaking from experience or?
Don't worry about my situation. Focus on you.
I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
No, that's funny. No,
So what's the first thing you guys are doing when you guys go out of quarantine?
I'm
staying home and seeing what happens.
I'm gonna stay home for 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
Make sure the coast is clear.
Yeah.
Make sure the coast is clear, and then when ting, then I'll go out.
We're gonna wait for outsiders.
So I actually have a confession to make, because when the coronavirus pandemic first started and things weren't actually that serious, I bought tickets to Toronto to go see my family because the tickets were cheap. So and then as time went on, everything got shut down. But we still have a flight credit. So I'm just waiting until everything opens back up so I can go to Toronto to visit my family. That's what I wanted to do, because I haven't seen my family in almost a year now, and I really wanted to go see them. I was just well, if the tickets are $315,
Yo, I got my ticket. I bought it February 24th, and I 42nd.
Shit, I think it's February 42nd. I don't know what day. What month it is.
I'm lit, okay? So I bought it for $140. It's a one-way Toronto, but I was moving to Toronto, and then this whole shit happened, and I'm and then I'm okay, I might have to rethink my strategy and all that.
Are you still moving?
Originally, I was going to move on March the 30th.
Okay.
But now, I don't know. I don't fucking know what's gonna happen.
God is telling you just stay here. I'm joking, but stay.
I'm going with the flow, right?
God wanted Travis to stay in Vancouver.
Yeah, exactly. God intended to be.
So many people told me that. I'm okay. I'm gonna believe it.
The Travis is your fault because you were trying to leave.
Oh my gosh.
Do you guys call it Corona or COVID-19?
Corona.
We call it Rona. We black. We call it Rona. That Rona.
I call it Connie V.
Connie V.
Connie V, you know what I'm saying? Connie V, make it sound like Bay. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like when I call it COVID, I'm definitely on some scientist shit.
Yeah.
Some people are COVID. I'm what is it? I'm oh, Corona? Oh, okay.
I think COVID is more professional. Corona is more fun. Corona.
Can we talk about that Cardi B track though? That was fire. That was fire.
That's hilarious.
Everybody, I feel really bad for Corona, the actual beer company. They had to shut down because nobody was buying their drinks, right?
But I feel a lot of people kind of
they shut down their production facility in Mexico. Yeah.
Wow.
But some people will still drink it though. Some people will actually drink because it's might as well drink Corona, Corona. Yeah, so it's
Fair enough.
Yeah. So they lost, I was reading about it because our company too, I work for Pepsi right now, and we're obviously keeping a close eye on all the other food and drink companies, in case something happens to us. But Corona tanked, and 38% of sales was down versus last year, and that's almost 40%, which is almost 50%. So it's just.
Do you guys think that's a conscious thing? Because I don't think it's very conscious. I think that it's just a subliminal thing. Okay, if there's Budweiser or Corona, let me just go with the Budweiser today. You know what I mean? Just not even thinking about why you don't feel like getting Corona. Because I find it hard to believe that people are like, nah, I don't want to catch it if I drink the beer.
No, people are that stupid. People are that stupid. People are buying toilet papers.
I still don't understand.
Yeah, bro.
I want
like,
to know,
were they planning to eat the toilet paper, or like what was the deal with that?
Even if it was a beer.
I
Do
think
you
we
not
need
own
to.
a shower? Like,
Corona
do you
was
not
what-
wash your booty? Like, so weird.
You have to talk about positivity in this whole thing. Like, it's crazy.
There was actually a poll in the US done about Corona, the beer company, and 1 out of 4 Americans said that they wouldn't buy Corona beer because.
Can we just say something? Like, I'm not trying to be offensive. Americans are
I
genuinely
know
stupid.
what you're gonna say.
Well, not stupid, ignorant. Ignorant is a better word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just like paranoia and fear that has, and all the controversies and all the theories. People are just overwhelmed with the information that they're given. They're just shocked. You know, it's too much information to process. So they just be like, okay, whatever. I'm not going to drink this. I'm not going to, say hi to anyone. Like, it's just overboard for them.
Is that in America, so many people are not educated, and that's the problem, right? So that's the sad truth. They don't have the resources. They don't have the education. So they think in the most, it's not ignorant. It's because they know what they know. And it's so sad, you know?
Yeah.
It's just ignorance, I guess.
So
have you guys seen
done challenges? Any of the challenges going on?
Fuck that.
Nah.
Thank you. Leave me alone.
Nah.
No? Not
The
even
only one that I did.
No, I'm not
I did
doing it.
one.
Savage. Sassy.
The savage?
I thought about that
one.
For push-up?
Just a TikTok thing. Somebody nominated me for push-ups and I said no. I literally reposted it and I said no.
I actually did a TikTok.
I don't even work out when Corona is not a thing, so why should I work out when there's a pandemic? Are you okay? Sorry.
You posted a home gym. That was fake. Okay.
Who has been on Tory Lanez's live?
His live? I've only seen footage of it on YouTube.
Quarantine. Yo, tickets put me on that since day one. I was like, what the fuck?
Quarantine.
Was I supposed to know that thing would blow up like that, man?
Can I just say, I feel like that was a marketing strategy from the jump. Because how does he do that and then drop his album? Like, that's his marketing is pretty smart.
Who is this, sir?
Tory Lanez, yeah. And then he's independent right now, right? He's independent right now. So
No, I think he did his live. I don't think that was marketing. I think everything after that was marketing. At that point, they're like, push it.
He took advantage of it.
Let's say he had a project happening. He's like, nah, let's fast forward this. Let's get this shit done. Now it's hot. Like, they probably pushed
The reason why I'm saying this, because even Drake too, like, I want people to quote me, he's going to drop his album next, pretty soon.
He will, yeah.
Like, some of this, like I get it, like, it might not have been planned, but like, they saw the opportunity, because there's so many people, think about so many people dropping music right now, because everyone's at home. What else are you doing? It's the best time to listen to music.
Just put my single on all platforms.
Well, going to the studio is a bit of a
lies
now, though. Like, for singing and stuff, like going to the studio, like all the studios are closed, so like I have to like record at home, and my mic isn't like the most like best quality or whatever, so it's a bit of a struggle / work in progress.
Yeah, but one thing I can say about being a creative right now, like on social media, is just like you definitely recognize the value of being an entertainer during times, because it's really funny, like, especially somebody who jokes around on social media, I do have to be conscious about like when I'm crossing the line a little too much, or like when the joke is like insensitive, because it's not as bad as it once was, but still you have to be careful about stepping on toes in the wrong way. And it's pretty crazy how as soon as this pandemic happened, that I felt like people became a lot less sensitive about jokes. People were just like looking for a laugh for the sake of a laugh, to keep from crying. People were like really, really appreciating, like their favorite social media entertainers who were like consistently like putting out stuff to really just help. Cause like we all need information, but we all need distraction at the end of the day. And that I guess for me personally, it really helped me understand like the value of and the privilege of what I get to do every day. Like, you know, for a lot of people, like it's really a cool idea that I'm helping in some sort of way, not like in a Superwoman, you know, singing Imagine by John Legend type of way, but like legitimately.
If you want to sing that too, that's cool too, Tunji. That's cool.
Yeah, but actually make just helping distract people, because like we're all having anxiety right now. So it's really been an interesting part of this journey for me personally. So.
Yeah. We should be super proud of this generation for the memes and ability to make this whole issue and how serious it is a comical one.
Yes.
Like how many like COVID-19 memes have you seen and you're like, wow,
people are so quick with it. So funny. Yeah.
Good.
Man, like the memes. Too much.
It's negative news everywhere. Everything you see on TV right now is coronavirus this, coronavirus that. Like, let's just be positive for once. So I enjoy the memes. I enjoy laughing, even though they're so funny and so ignorant. I still like the positive vibes that I'm feeling when I see them. Yeah. I'm just so tired of hearing the negative news, you know? So
yeah. Facts.
I agree.
And some people are negative, like, oh, you shouldn't be joking and stuff when this whole serious thing is happening. I'm like, yo, like this is how I cope with this whole thing. It's one of my ways I cope with it, just having a good laugh and you know, I share it. If it doesn't work for you, you could unfollow me. Like,
I have a question for the group though, because I follow a lot of people on Twitter, like on social media. Like, how do people feel about like people being productive over this time? Because I mean, some people are totally against it. Some people are just like for it. So I just want to hear what people's perspective on that.
I had a post this morning. Oh, go ahead, babe. Go ahead.
No, you go. I
was going to say, I had a post this morning talking about how you aren't forced to be productive. Oh, guys, sorry, 1 second.
She said silence.
I'm such a good mom.
I know.
But basically, it's like, you aren't forced to be productive, you know? Like, I think our society has this pressure to always be doing something, but you don't have to always be doing something. It's okay. Like, why feel that pressure? You're okay doing what you're doing. Just make sure you're happy. That's it.
I think it can be taken two ways as well. Like productivity, not in terms of comparison to other people, so you can show, because again, we're living in a social media society where you always want to like show what your accomplishments, what you got, but productivity in yourself, like in your own well-being. Like a lot of people are struggling with like anxiety, depression. Like take it day by day and like work within yourself, you know, whether it's like just working on a skill that to cope with the stress that you are going through. I think that can also be another way to be productive for your health. We're not competing with anyone.
It depends like who you are as a person. Like, I mean, because I've had this conversation with a lot of people, like with essential workers and people who are like still working like nurses, like they I think have the luxury of actually just like relaxing when they do get a chance. But I feel like there's some people, like for example, as a creative right now, this is an opportunity for us like to improve on a certain skill that you've been wanting to learn, or like certain things. Or even if you're like like Abigail was saying, like I wasn't being healthy before. Like I'm not saying you have to, but like now it's like I get like, okay, like it's a pandemic, like there's people dealing with it differently, but it's like you can only relax for such a long, like it doesn't even take that long, like because we have 24 hours in the day, right? Even just like 30 minutes of doing something that maybe like learning a new skill, like working on something that you've been procrastinating on. Like I'm not saying you have to be productive, just work on something, because you can't like going to like week 4 or 5 of this, you can't be sitting at home watching Netflix. You can't be sitting at home being sorry for yourself. Like there has to be a point where you're like, okay, like I have to be productive on like do something different.
Yeah, for yourself.
I agree.
And that could be, and sorry, who's gonna say something?
No, I was gonna say something, but you can talk and then I'll talk.
Oh, actually, no. You go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay.
So nice.
I talked a lot, so yeah.
I agree with that as well. The first few weeks, I was like, I shut everything down. I was like, this sucks. I wasn't writing any music. I wasn't doing a lot of creative stuff. And after a while, I was like, okay, I can't keep going on like this. Like you said, we're in week 5 right now. And personally, I feel like, obviously Netflix is awesome. I watch Netflix all the time and stuff like that. But I do feel that there comes a time when if your mind is consistently idle, that it will affect you in another way. Like after a while, you will start to think about the things that you don't want to think about. And like, because you're not having this feeling of accomplishment, you're just having this feeling of like every day, like, oh, just watching stuff. So like, it does have a way of like coming back to bite you. But then like you said, if you just spend like 30 minutes in a day learning something, it doesn't have to be you don't even have to do anything like major. It could be reading a book. It could be watching something about, I don't know, how to crochet. Like it could be something completely random.
Crocheting.
Crochet, yeah, of course. You can make money off that.
Completely random, just to like give you that feeling of, oh, I learned something today, kind of thing.
I read 10 pages of a book and I passed out. So
I mean,
how was that sleep though?
When I play Scrabble,
it hit different.
Exactly, yo.
It hit different.
It hits
that was
good,
the best
man.
nap I've taken in a while.
Exactly.
I think people
like the same way as like people who go on vacation to Mexico or something. There's a reason why people only stay for a week or 2 weeks is because you can't stay there for that long, like past that, because then after that it's no longer a luxury, right? So like I think the issue for a lot of people, especially for me, is being at home. It lost its touch. Before, when I came home, that was like my safe spot. Like after everything, I got to relax, I got to do something and restart my day. So for those who are still essential workers, who can leave their house or work at home and do something productive with their brain for a few hours and then relax, they still have that routine. But for me, I don't have work. School's kind of ending. So school was done and then I was left with nothing. So it's kind of having to restart, and I need something to make me feel purposeful or a reason to wake up in the morning, like have a routine, like wake up at a certain time. I don't want to sleep at 4 a.m. and wake up at 2 p.m. Like I can't consistently do that.
Exactly.
It's not gonna it won't work for me. Maybe it'll work for someone else. My sister loves quarantine right now. She loves this. She wakes up, she's so happy. She's like, it's the best gift anybody could have given.
Oh my God.
But like that's not how everybody functions, right?
Yeah, but how old is she though?
16.
Exactly. 16, yeah. Like that would be a big luxury for someone her age.
I think also one thing I was going to say, that because we live in a society where like a 9 to 5 is like in a system that we're so like we grow up to know, like we see our parents do it, we do it ourselves, or we clock in more hours. So we're usually on the go. Now that we have like time to like rest and like, you know, take our present moment in, like we don't know how to deal with ourselves. So I don't know what is your name? It's Travis and what's your name?
Well, I guess like I mean the thing I can say this because like when the memes are coming, like I've been quarantining my whole life because I work from home and I'm a creative. Like I work from home anyway, so like I guess maybe that's why I'm used to it. Like for me, this quarantine is affecting me in the sense that when, like for example, the weekend came on when I had shoots, that was my time to leave the house. Now that that's been taken away from me, I'm just like, well, it sucks. Like I can't go outside now. But the way I've been dealing with this, I found something else. Like it doesn't matter what time I wake up. Like I was even an insomniac too. Like he'll laugh. Like I will go to bed like 6 a.m. because I'm used to it.
8 a.m.
or even 8, and then be in bed until like 2, and then like, but I'll still do all the things I need to. I'm still working. I'm still working out. Like I still have that structure no matter what time of day it is, because that's what my structure was, right? Yeah. Because I was more like a night owl because there's no one texting you at 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
I think during this time there's also a lot of value in just spending time with yourself. Yeah. Like being forced to spend time with, because you know, like in everyday life, you know, you have your routine, you work out, you go to work, you do this, you do that, you go to sleep, and it's just like over and over and over again, and you don't like give yourself time to just like rest and be inside your own head for a while. And I think like a time like this, even though a lot of people don't like it, but then eventually you get to the point of like you just kind of be like, I didn't really address that insecurity that I have, or do I like this job that I'm doing, or I was mad at that person, but we never really hashed it out, so I haven't talked to them for a while. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of value for me in just like being inside my own head for a while, and just like, okay, like that's every day. I'm inside my own head every day.
But that's the thing. Like, I can relate to that in a sense because I'm like that. I do a lot of like self-introspection anyway. But I find that this is very difficult. A lot of people who use their jobs or whatever it is that they were doing as an escape. Now that people are at home now, because like I was talking to my uncle, he's like, it kind of sucks now because like he was using his job to get away from like his problems at home, like not having to hang out with the kids all the time. Like if you weren't already doing that, or like being around your family, like if you stay at home, imagine like you were staying by yourself, now you have to move back home. Like people are dealing with different, like if you're not used to that like self-introspection, then a lot of people are struggling. I think that's why a lot of people are a lot more depressed now, or struggling a lot more because they're not used to doing that.
We're gonna wrap up there. Thank you guys so much for being so open and just coming on and just chatting. And it's also nice to just, talk to people.
Right?
Virtual human contact.
Yes, exactly. Some virtual contact. But before we wrap up, just want to get some predictions on bets for when you guys think we'll be allowed to go out. So the winnings will be your pride that you've predicted, right? But we could just like do real quickly, like what month you guys think this will all be over.
Oh my gosh, I'll say June.
July.
October.
September.
October.
Okay.
May.
July for me.
And it says May.
Guys, I still go outside every day.
Very optimistic.
So, like, it feels the same to me in a sense because I still go out every day to go to work.
Okay.
But, like, I'm thinking September, y'all.
Yeah, actually, I changed my mind.
We're not gonna have a summer.
I think September.
No, wait. So, are you trying to say Hot Girl Summer is cancelled?
It's canceled. No, but we're still working on it. We're still working on it. Just
Travis said learning how to put on makeup. Yo, Hot Girl Summer is still happening. Even if it's
Hot Girl every season.
You trying to be on quarantine radio or like what's going on?
IG Live.
Quarantine.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. And that's it for this episode. And to everyone watching, thank you so much for watching and listening. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram.
Smash that subscribe button.
Yes, just
smash that shit.
Hit it. Yeah. Wherever else you get your podcast, we're on there. So we hope that you stay safe. And
wash your hands.
Outside if you don't need to. Just stay at home, okay? And we'll be back soon as well. So thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.